So this time I'm gonna start some trouble. And let's be very, very clear, shall we? I don't, I am not a counter to anyone. Hmm? I am not a counter. What I'm about to say is not a counter to any man. Chances are great the people that I will discuss here, I've never listened to. I haven't spent 5 minutes listening to them. I saw what they were and who they were without needing to. So I'm not a counter to anyone. What I'm saying is not to counter anyone. It's to ask just very basic questions and clarify some very clear positions, right? And so, where is your manhood? Where does your manhood live? Where does it exist? Where does it come from? Right? Do you pick it up at the store? Right? Do you buy manhood at BJ's? Right? Can you pick it up? Is it based on the fact that you got an erection? Is that what makes you a man? Is that how your manhood is defined? What about buying a table? What about if you go to Home Depot or you go to IKEA and you buy a table? You got your own table. You know, you proud. You got a table, right? Is that where your manhood lives? In the capacity for you to buy a table from somewhere else or somebody else? And then based on that, right? Based on that manhood that you bought, that you purchased, based on that manhood, you would turn and create conditions that your woman should comply with in order to be privy to your manhood. Is that right? Now, the problem here is if that your manhood is tied to the shit you can buy, bruh, if your manhood is tied to the things that you can buy, the assumption is that whatever woman that is with you is for sale. And all I got to do is have more money than you, and I can have your woman. Right? If your manhood is tied to what you can buy, then I suggest to you that your manhood is a farce. Right? I suggest to you that that is not, in fact, manhood. That's built and predicated upon a false sense of pride that is rooted in a value system that you do not control and cannot identify. Right? So if, in fact, what you think makes you a man is faulty, right? If it is faulty, and if what we call pride is actually misdirected in such a way that our need or desire to have pride keeps our enemy stronger over us and our children and our families into the future, then the pride that it is that you're displaying is detrimental to your own existence and your own people, right? That pride must be a dangerous thing if it is not true, if it is not rooted in very basic and natural. So what do you derive pride from? Where does true pride come from? Where does manhood come from, right? Where does true pride come from? True pride doesn't come from your ability to earn enough money, go to your oppressor and buy a table from him, bring that table into your house, and then strut around like a peacock telling the women that they need to find things to bring to your little punk table. Nah, that's false pride. Real pride is to go and harvest the wood. Real pride is to plan out to build a table. And you build that table, and even though it may not sit flush, it may have a little wobble, guess what? Your hands did it. You didn't need another man. You were not validated by another man. Another man did not allow you your pride. You produced it. And that is true pride. What we have is a facsimile, a misdirected set of attributes that serve to ensure that another man stays in power over us. You know what Two-Tooth Tommy has over you? You know what that broken down, podunk redneck has over you, my brothers? Anything he has that breaks down, he will fix it. He will come up with a redneck solution and he will fix it. But what we will do is we will throw it out and go buy another one from our oppressor. And then again, like peacocks, we spread our feathers wide and we walk around and we tell the women that we're men, huh? We're alpha men, because massa gave me money. You become the bully coon, the bully coon that goes through and bullies the women into an undefined shape. You listen to these little, I'm telling you, let this video be seen. Everybody knows my name. It's Peter Brown. Peter Brown says, Kevin Samuels, Tariq Nasheed, if you ever walk into an audience and you see me there, I'm rocking your chiclets, man. Period. On sight, there's nothing that you can say. There is nothing that you can say. So what has happened is we have, too many of our young brothers out here with this on their lips. What do you bring to the table? You talk about the table that master let you have and the food that master supply chain provides. You talk about that table, and then you're going to turn to your woman and you're going to act like you was the white man to your woman. And you're going to ask her, what do you bring to the table? Maybe a more mature question or a more mature start to a conversation is to say, here is my table and here is what I would like from a woman. That might make it a little easier, right? But instead, the bully coon attacks. The bully coon puts our sisters on their heels in a defensive posture, right? And everything that these talkers are saying, these so-called alpha men are saying, all of these talkers that got they have suggestions as it relates to how a woman should be. If you are such an expert on womanhood, then get some pumps, get a mini skirt. If you're such an expert on womanhood, then why ain't you flitting around out here? The entire model speaks of fucking weakness, man. It speaks of weakness for us as men to turn and say, well, what do you bring to my table? Not recognizing the fact that that table ain't yours. Shit. You built your little clubhouse in Massa's house. That's Massa's house. That table is his. You bought it from him. You earned the money to buy it from him. So no, let's break that out again. Let's break it out a little bit. Where does your manhood come from? Where does your manhood come from? Anyone, please answer it. Please put it in the comments. Where does manhood come from? Do you buy it at Shaw's? Is it at your local pharmacy? Where do you pick it up? Is it because you had an erection? Is that what makes you a man? Where does manhood come from? What did Malcolm say? What did Malcolm say? Where does manhood come from? My brothers, I'm speaking straight at you, man. Where does fucking manhood come from? Do you buy it? Is it something you pick up on the ground? Did your daddy give it to you? Where did manhood come from? There's a single source. There is one source for your manhood. And it is defined based on the security and the solvency that you can provide for your woman. Period. Your manhood cannot exist absent the security of your woman. There is no manhood. If a man can go in and do whatever he wants to your mother, you are not a man. If a man can come in and do whatever he wants to your children and to your sisters, you are not a man. So you think that your motherfucking IKEA table made you a man because you could buy one? And then you, with your slick mouth, you open up your mouth and you say, what did you bring to the table? Bruh. It is an exercise in weakness. All I'm seeing is weakness. These kinds of words is not a man that says, yo, you know what? I got this. I'm going to make this, right? You should be worthy. You should be worthy of having a woman. You should prove that. Again, you go and you look throughout nature. The lion has a pride. See, the lion, two male lions don't walk together. Two male lions do not cohabit. The lion has a pride of lioness, and he maintains that pride and he takes care of it. And any one of you little young bucks that ever think that you want to come challenge for the pride, step up. And so the way that nature works is the only one that is allowed to procreate or reproduce is the one that can hold the fucking throne. This is true for the giraffe. This is true for the elephants. This is true for all of life. But now you become so comfortable in chattel slavery. So comfortable in chattel slavery. The primal elements of basic pride, the primal elements of basic manhood, the primal elements have been forgotten based on a value system. Because this dude's got a Lexus. You'll trade. You don't even worse, you don't miss it. Even worse than not having it is that you don't miss it. You don't know it's not there. You can't define where to find manhood. You can't define where your manhood lives. Right? And yet you out here talking loud, right? You can't put a crown on your head. Teachers teach and do the world good. Kings just rule and most are never understood, right? You can't put a crown on your head. Doesn't work like that. That's tinfoil if you put it on your head. The only way a crown goes on your head is if the woman puts it on your head. That is the only way. There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. All answers go right back through the Black woman. Every answer. If she is not secure, then you are not secure, and your babies are not secure, and our communities are not secure. You can't vote this into being. And so what is happening is, because you got these punk bitches, right? Like a Kevin Samuels and like this, because you got this happening, again, the black woman is forced to try to solve this problem by herself, because you puffing up your chest and showing everybody your peacock feathers, right? So she's forced, again, to try to solve this problem by herself. And then whatever she does, you come back and say, you're an enemy to us. No, you're the enemy of us. You're the enemy of us, right? You're the enemy because you don't understand whose fucking job this is, right? You don't understand that. You don't understand where your manhood comes from. The very basic things, the very basic and primal understandings escape you, right? This is because we have become comfortable. You have become comfortable as chattel and in being kept. You're comfortable. If it breaks, you'll throw it out and you'll go buy another one. And that makes you feel really good, kept and comfortable. And as long as white people are supreme, you can be a happy nigger, right? As long as white people are supreme and their system continues to stand, everything will be fine. You'll just go buy another, right? And then what you'll walk around and demonstrate, you call pride. You think it's pride, but it's a false pride, and it is very dangerous to us. And so I'm going to step away from that, right? That Kevin Samuels, that's a poison. He's an agent. He is an agent set up by white supremacy. And my brothers are just following along behind this fool. He is an agent. He is driving a wedge between us, where a wedge has already been between us. But let me do a little history lesson. Okay? 1619, we're brought here, right? Together. It wasn't together. We're brought here, men and women. Was that the time that black women were supposed to revolt and save us all, right? Were they supposed to solve this problem for us all in 1619 when we were getting unloaded off the boats? Okay. Revolutionary War breaks out, right? And the men are taken and they fight and they're killed. They're put on the front lines. The black men are taken and put on the front lines. Is this the point where black women were supposed to be able to save us, right? All by themselves? At what point in American history and in our history here were black women by themselves supposed to save us? When? When was that supposed to happen? Maybe while they were castrating the men, right? While she was being raped and bearing the child while she was being raped and not making a noise because knowing that her husband would wake up and it would break him and her children would wake up and they might be killed. So she would take that rape silently. And this nasty rapist knew what he was doing. He went into that family's house to do it. Is that when she was supposed to stand up and carry the black family into the promised land? Is that when? What about when your grandfathers and your fathers went to World War I and World War II, and they were in Germany, and they were in Italy, and they were in Europe, and they found that the racism was far less in these places than it was back in the United States, and they did not even come back home to their women? Is that when they were supposed to save us? Is that when black women were supposed to save? See, if we walk all the way through history, 400 years of history, at no time is the black woman supposed to become interchangeable with the black man and stand up and fight this beast. No time. At no time. Right? Whose job is that? I don't, again, I see these debates and I see all these talkers. Oh, there's nothing that you can fucking say, man. There's nothing that you can say. No. Oh, well, no. What was wrong with your grandfather? Why was your grandfather not there? Why did he not die before letting that woman be fucking raped? Huh? Because he's a punk. Why didn't your great-grandfather? Why didn't your great-grandfather? So you want to blame the woman. Why? Because you know why? Because you're a bully coon. That's why. Because you're a bully coon. And you are pushing on your women what the white people push on you because you have no power to come out of it. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You must change this behavior, brother. You must change this behavior. Your manhood lives in one place. You don't buy it at IKEA. You don't buy it in Home Depot. It isn't based on the fact that you got big feet or an erection. That isn't manhood. What they allowed you isn't pride. And since you have not defined these things for yourself, you're spinning around trying to make sense of this, and none of it is making sense, and you're having no impact in the dynamic that we exist in. You must get primal. You must break each thing down to its finest component. What is manhood, and where is it found? What is manhood, and where is it found? It's found in the safety and the security of your sisters. For if they are not safe, and if they are not secure, then none of us are. Simple, right? This is very, very basic. And these talkers with the popular, they want platforms. They want, like I said, I don't want no platform. This is not, my words are not a counter to any man. You do not hear me quote none of these fools. My words are not a counter to any man. Organic thought, my thought. This is what I said. Huh? And it just so happens that it's true. That it's true. If I'm wrong, you tell me. Where can I pick up manhood? Where can I pick up manhood? Where does it come from? From where is it derived? Answer that question. Put it in the comments, man. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Where does manhood come from? It's in a Cracker Jack box. You just buy it and you got it and that's it. Right. So I'm going to step from that to another very pervasive disease that lives among us and is breathed among us by our own. I see so many of them on Twitter and all over the world calling themselves FB1, Foundational Black Americans, and ADOS, right? African descendants of slavery, right? American, no, not African. Ooh, no, not African. American descendants of slavery. Okay, Foundational Black Americans. First and foremost, if Malcolm was in any way correct, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. You didn't come here voluntarily. Your parents did not come here voluntarily. You are not a citizen of the United States of America. You are a denizen in the United States of America. Look up the word if you do not understand it. Denizen. You are not a citizen of the United States of America. You are a denizen. You are the capital in capitalism. You were the stock that was brought in and sold on Wall Street. You were the fuel for the capital that was produced on April 2nd, 1796. There was no capital in America until that point. April 2nd, 1796 was the first time they minted coins and minted money here in America. So for the 150 years prior, they were doing nothing but breeding your parents, breeding your grandparents, breeding your family, right? So are you American? Only in your mind. They don't think you are. Who thinks you're American? The police? The teacher? Who? You're the only one over here talking about I'm American, right? You want to be liked and accepted so badly. You want to be comfortable under a master, right? We're not American. We are POWs in America, right? We are 48 million victims of Americanism is what we are. We're not American. And so what this title does, this Foundational Black American, and this ADOS, right? American descendants of slaves. We're not descendants of slaves. We're descendants of fucking humans. Human beings. turned into slaves, right? And we spend absolutely no time actually defining. So, and why do they take these names? Why does one take a name? ADOS, FB1. I'll tell you why one takes a name. Because they are intent upon sitting at a table and negotiating for something, right? This is why one takes a name. They need to differentiate themselves from others in order to sit at the table and negotiate for something, right? So ADOS and FB1, the whole focus for them is 30 pieces of silver in the form of reparations. But what if Massa says no? One word, no. All your energy, all your posts, everything you're talking about reparations, and this dude can say no. But you're spending the energy, right? This is so clearly in your focus. You ignore what you have. You ignore what's on the ground around you, right? The only thing that matters is reparations, right? And when you look at the ADOS and the FB1, FBA, right? And you listen to what they're saying and what they're doing, what they're saying is, and what they're doing is they're disrespecting their ancestors worse than the slave master ever did. Because those people didn't want, again, if currency started on April 2nd, 1796, none of them wanted money. There was no political system in place. And 150 years they were enslaved here and being bred. They didn't want a vote. They didn't want equality. They didn't want diversity. They didn't want inclusion and voice. They didn't want those things. They wanted freedom. They wanted freedom. So today, to reduce yourself to the place where you want a paycheck, huh? How many minutes are there? So how much for each rape? How much do you think you should get for each rape? You want to share in the blood spoils, and that's the only thing that you can have, huh? Engagement into this bankrupt value system. The only thing that's going to solve your problem, the only way for us to come up out of this condition exists in our oppressor's hands. And we got to hope he drops a crumb. We got to hope we can appeal to a morality that does not exist. We got to hope we can change this man into something else. But again, you cannot mandate morality and you cannot legislate love. So you're tying your progeny and your future to the potential that you can change another man, that we can garner enough pity to find comfort beside him. And no part of you thinks I can exist without him. No part of us. None of our plans, nothing that we're teaching our children. HBCUs, great. What are they teaching you? Is anyone coming out of that HBCU that has a desire to be free? Or are they moving and making white supremacy strong in order to find comfort under it, right? Talk to one of these rednecks today. Talk to one of these KKK members today, right? Talk to pretty much any of the white folk today. And guess what they'll say? You're free. Stop whining. You're free. Aren't you? Couldn't you do these things for yourself? Aren't you free? You are free. And yet you don't exercise that. So I'm gonna step that back. You are free to go anywhere you want. You are free to build anything you want. You are free to produce a life for yourself, but you don't. You allow someone else to control your food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, and utilities. And as long as somebody else controls those things, you're chattel. You are slave. What is chattel? If you have a cow, if you have horses, right? That's where the word chattel ports from, right? If you have horses, if you have a cow, if you have goats, if you have livestock, guess what? You have to maintain responsibility for their food, shelter, their health care, right? That is what you do with your livestock. And so here we sit, livestock, comfortable, and yet whining that somebody needs to do something more for us. We don't like the way you're handing us our hay. We don't like the taste of the water that you're putting in our trough. We don't like the shock sticks that you be hitting us with. We don't like these things, right? Right? So again, when we listen to these philosophies and ideologies, and where this Tariq Nasheed has driven a wedge between us throughout the world, the wedge that he has driven is global. It exists globally. The white man didn't do that. Tariq Nasheed did, right? When you say ADOS and FB1, what this little bitch is doing is saying, ooh, we might get a paycheck from massa, and I don't want them to get any. What kind of a little bitch is this? We might get paid from massa, and we went through horrible, horrible things. Let me tell you about my family. Now, selling your family's experience is what you're doing. You're trying to sell you have no respect for your family and what they sacrificed and what they did. You have no respect. Trying to sell it is what you're trying to do, right? He wants to find more comfort under white supremacy, not ever be free of it. What about Moist Watkins? Again, he's an agent. If his every word keeps white supremacy strong, it doesn't matter how many times he says it's against it. Everything that he's saying is, let's earn $1 million. But if you earn $1 million, white supremacy got to be strong, right? If you get rich under white supremacy's got to be operational, right? If you get $1 billion, who really won? If every dollar that you get, if you get $1 billion, right? And every time you spend it or exchange it or you earn it or you give it away or you do anything with it, they take a percentage. Eventually, you're going to run out. You're going to pay them for your house. You're going to pay them for the taxes. You're going to pay them for insurance. You're going to pay them for the roads and the bridges that are in your neighborhoods. You're going to pay them taxes. And absolutely every single thing that you do will find its way back to them that printed it, right? So tell me, open up a bank. Whose money are you putting in it? How many billions of years can run? This dude's a PhD out here. I'm telling you, that you're like the Moist Watkins. Yo, he's selling snake oil. What he wants to do is sell a book, sell his course, sell something so that he can be more and more comfortable under the condition. Will that help you? Right? So you take his book, you take his courses, you go through it. And yes, maybe, awesome. You made $1 million in the stock market. You will never be a threat to white supremacy. You'll be a comfortable nigger keeping it strong. That is what you will be. Come out of the HBCUs. Guess what? You're seeking comfort. They're teaching you to seek comfort in the condition, never be free of it. Let me tell you something. If a man does not have his freedom, and yet he does not want it, he's not a man. He's not a man. If a man does not have his freedom, and yet he does not want it, that's not a man. That's chattel. That's chattel. That is the lion's cage open, and he ain't moving. He ain't leaving the cage. He was born there. That's home, right? That's the ADOS. That's the ADOS and the FB1. That's home, right? To the lion born in the cage, he's already home. He ain't going to leave. You leave that door open all you want. Here, come close it. Cling. Ain't not going nowhere. It's scary out there. It's scary out there. My guess is this is what Harriet Tubman encountered. My guess is when Moses and Joshua stood in front of Pharaoh and said, let my people go, that's exactly what he bumped into. Was them talking about, give me that, close that damn cage. What are you talking about? Why you, close that cage. It's drafty up in here. I'm staying right here. I'm comfortable as kept chattel. And if that's your thing, if you are okay being chattel, my question to you is, why you whining? Why are you whining about the police killing you? You ain't going to police yourself. You can't self-correct. You have absolutely no plan to do anything about this but whine, cheer, march, cry, and die, right? So shut up. If you're not going to actively do anything about it, you just sound like a whiner, man. Like, you don't like the healthcare, you're not going to take the vaccine. What is your option, right? You're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, but they control the economy, they control the utilities, they control your education, they control everything that keeps you alive for 72 hours. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Absent a plan, yes, you are. You're going to do whatever they says. See, there's two parties here. There's an organ grinder and there's a monkey. And when the organ grinder plays a tune, the monkey dances. If he controls your water, you damn sure going to do anything he said. You have to. Self-preservation. This isn't ideology, FB1. This isn't that bullshit. Self-preservation means you can't even commit suicide. Your body will defend against your attempts to commit suicide, right? Your body will defend against your attempts to commit suicide. You can't even do it. If for 72 hours you don't have water, you die. You will do anything he says. That is the nature of our oppression. As long as they control the essential needs, and again, all of these talkers and these PhDs and they got all their ideas. They know everything, don't they? And in that, none of them start at a very base and primal level. What will you die without, right? None of them start with that. And so they go past that. And so anytime you hear any man or any people go past that as the solution, the assumption is that the water will always be there. I don't have to worry about that. It's like the light bulb in the refrigerator. When I close it, I don't have to think about whether or not it's on or off, right? It's magic. I open up the fridge, magic. There's a light. I don't have to think about it. I'm like a sophomore child that doesn't have to think about the water, right? And yet we'll complain about it. We'll complain about it, but take no hand to solve it. That is a comfortable slave. So go through your society. Go through your HBCU graduates. Do they want to be free of this condition, or do they want to be more comfortable under this condition? Look at your men, your Kempis and Samuels. Does he want to be free of the condition? He doesn't want to try to defeat white supremacy. He wants to be white supremacy, dressed up like a peacock, right? Look throughout your society and ask yourself that very one basic question. Do they want to be free of this abhorrent condition, or are they trying to be more comfortable under it? That's a real basic litmus. And if they're trying to be more comfortable under it, again, Marcus Garvey said, any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. So any of these people that you're following and rolling with and praising, all that bullshit that they're doing, they're walking your babies into fucking gas chambers and you can't see it. You can't see it. You're not hearing it, right? If water is controlled by another man, then the water will be used as a weapon against you. If your food is controlled by another man, then your food will be used as a weapon against you. Imagine that last night, the dude who was cooking your dinner put arsenic up in there and tried to murder you. Huh? You know it. You came back from the hospital, got the food tested by Dr. Quincy, and it comes out arsenic. This dude tried to kill me last night. Tonight, you gonna let that same dude make your food? Right? Are you gonna let that same dude make your food tonight? And yet, here we have a people that for 400 years, without skipping a single innocent individual in 20 generations of your family, has actively attempted to murder them. And the best thing that we can think to do is stay real close to him. His everything is crumbling. It's crumbling. Again, that ADOS and FB1 is some foolish shit. That's tricks for kids. That's tricks for kids. Malcolm X said very clearly, in South America, those people that are there are also called African Americans because they were simply dropped off of the boat a little earlier. Those are our people. And their experiences, while they may not be the exact same as ours, have been horrendous. So look at it. It's your cousin. But you want a bigger piece of the 30 pieces of silver than he does. You think you deserve more from Massa, right? And so we're going to separate ourselves and divide because massa got money and we might get this money, right? Right? We could get this money. That's our goal. But what Malcolm X said was, if you look everywhere on this planet Earth, you will find everywhere that you go, you will find people that look exactly like you. And if you find those people that look exactly like you, and you should galvanize and produce unity, if each of you should lock your arms, we would have the rest of them surrounded. We would surround the rest of the planet Earth and all of her people. Is that better or is begging better? Which one? Where does your manhood live? Where does your manhood live? Which is the better option? Perpetually begging or surrounding them all? So again, I'm not a counter to anything. All I'm doing is I'm highlighting what was said, right? Tariq is the one that told you ADOS and FB1 because we might be able to get a check, right? Malcolm is the one that said unite. Malcolm is the one that said go to South America. Go meet them people that look just like you and galvanize. Malcolm was the one that said go to Haiti. Malcolm was the one that began globe trotting and telling us what we needed to do was connect the dots and create the partnerships, isolate everybody else from our conversations and build. And if you should fail, then you try again. And if you should fail, then you try again. And if you should fail, then you try again. And you keep going and you build the partnerships until we have them surrounded. Is that better? Is that better than on our knees, man? I'm just, hey, yo, you see my every word. You see my every move, man. And this is, everything I do is so open. I ain't got no secrets, man. Everybody knows who I am, right? I got zero secrets, right? I got a big mouth, man, right? And I'm telling you, you see everything that I do is based on that. And so again, I'm going to give you that litmus, okay? I'm going to give you that litmus. Is the man that you are listening to interested in finding more comfort under white supremacy? That means, is he trying to build his business? Is he trying to build his brand? Is he trying to dribble good and get accepted? He wants to be a backup dancer. Yeah, man. And he's talking about pride and he's talking about what you bring to the table. That's because he has no true pride. He has no sense of self. He is sold out and he's waiting for his 30 pieces of silver, and he will compromise and do absolutely anything to attain that 30 pieces of silver. Any minstrel, every politician, every leader, every journalist, every talker, every bookseller, every PhD, every single one of them. If they want comfort under white supremacy, then they are an enemy to liberation. Period. Period. And an agent against that. Your favorite politician. I'll join them in order to change it. Are you insane? Again, nothing that you do is going to take over the money printing press. You're not going to take over the money printing press. So they're going to always print that money. They're going to always control the interest rate. They're going to always charge you taxes. They're going to always extract the blood from the bottom because it is a vampire and it was built that way 400 years ago. And we struggle in this. We're sitting in this trying to figure it all out, man, when it was told to us. Malcolm told us, he hipped us to the game way back. Noble Drew Ali hipped us to the game. Elijah Muhammad hipped us. Marcus Garvey hipped us. Frederick Douglass hipped us. And we ignore all that shit and sit here and listen to Tariq Nasheed and Moist Watkins and Kevin Samuels. We got no idea. Where does your manhood live, man? Where does your manhood live? I've been on here now for a minute. I can't see no comments, unfortunately, right? But I really want to hear any single man answer for me that question. Any man that can hear my voice, answer for me the question, where do you get manhood? Does your father give it to you? Does your mother give it to you? Do you buy it from IKEA? Is it based on the fact that you have an erection? Is it for sale? Is it a kit that you pick up at the local pharmacy? Where does your manhood live? Where does a man gain manhood? Answer it, please. Please, any man. Where does our manhood live? I'll give you a tip. Malcolm said it. Malcolm lived it. He lived and died to teach you this. And here we are listening to it. This fucking swashbuckler? We listening to this? We listening to this sword fighter? Huh? Yo, where does your manhood live? It lives in the safety and the security of your woman. Because if a man can walk into your house and do anything that he wants to your mother, to your sister, to your friend who might be visiting you, then you have no power. That is not your house. He can take anything he wants from you at any given time. Your manhood rests in the safety and the security of our women. Malcolm said it. I follow it blindly. Blindly. I don't care what bag she is in. She's in a bag because what we have lived through has been abhorrent. She is human too. I don't care what bag, my brother. I don't care what bag you are in or what you are doing. I am not like these little bitches, man, who are speaking ideological. Here's my opinion. Here's what I think. Nah, anything that I just said to you, if you got a counter to it, say it. Say it. I'm begging you. If I'm wrong, tell me where you get your humanity. I'm sorry, your manhood. Where does it come from? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Malcolm X might have been wrong, right? So please answer it. Where does manhood come from? Is it granted? Is it like they hit you with a sword and you get like, where's it come from? Some watery tot comes and throws you a sword and all of a sudden you're a man. What happens? How do you become a man? So the only way that you become a man is you cannot buy it. You cannot ask for it. You cannot beg for it. You earn it. And the way that you earn it is by enforcing a respect for everything that is yours. And what is yours is this precious portal, a precious portal that has the capacity to bring life to barren planets. You have the most precious resource in the world, and you're overlooking it. A diamond can't do what a Black woman can. Dollars can't do. Nothing that you will encounter in this physical reality can do what a Black woman can, and you are overlooking the most valuable resource there is. It is where your manhood lives. It is the key to absolutely everything that afflicts us today. And again, you listen to these semi-men that call themselves, like I said, he calls himself an alpha. I'm rocking Kevin Samuels. You see my face, homie? You see me? I'm rocking you, man. If I ever see you, yo, for real. And Tariq too, yo, man, you an agent. And you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna get done like an agent. Not my hands, not my doing, just the history, right? Nobody likes a rat. I was locked up one time, the dude ratted on me. I never lifted my hands. The brothers beat him with soap, dial soap, and what is it? Master locks in pillowcases. Bam, bam. And then when he was done getting beat, the guards lugged him back into population. Nobody likes a rat. Nobody likes a rat, and that's what you are. You know, you spread these seeds of division between us throughout the world, man. I'm hearing about your bullshit in Haiti. I'm hearing about your bullshit all over the planet Earth. The wedge that has been driven by this Tariq Nasheed is unbelievable. Again, he is more insidious than any clan member has ever been. Ever. Ever. That is their nature. I understand them. That they're living out of their nature. This dude is not living out of his nature. He's taking 30 pieces of silver to sell you out. That's what he's done. That's what he's done. And he's gone against everything that he says. All of your leaders, man. All of your leaders. This dude talking about building a school, and he wants to name it the Marcus Garvey Frederick Douglass Academy. That's really awesome. But Marcus Garvey said any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. So if he were to be building a school, where does the school get theirs? Where's the supply chain? Are they paying taxes to their enemy? Are they getting their food, their water, their clothing, their shelter? Are all of that, has anything changed? Or are you still dependent upon your enemy to survive for 72 hours? So they don't have any answers. And they are captivating the people because they've got bright feathers and walk around and strut. And they call themselves men, but they can't define where does manhood come from. I suggest to you the time has come to get very primal. When you look at anything, ask yourself, where is it derived? Use a scientific methodology in order to be able to understand a thing. So when you say pride, where is pride derived from? What are the byproducts that are in place that produce it? See, it's a chemical reaction. Where does it come from? And so every single thing that we see, let's bring it to a very base level, primal. Where does it come from? Where does your manhood come from? And when you start to ask these questions and you start to produce these definitions for these things, absent what is told you on an external basis, producing them for yourself, once you begin to do that, the answer associated with a permanent solution becomes very clear. It becomes very clear that there is not a litany of different things that must happen, but a single one, right? A single one. There must be a single spark in you that says, yeah, what the fuck have I been doing? If I get wealthy, that means white supremacy must be strong. They're smiling at you. You think you're doing something. You think you denting in them, huh? You think, you stop buying Tommy Hilfiger. You think you think you hurting him, huh? You're still under their system. He's getting a piece off the top. He's a part of the house, right? He's down with the house. It doesn't matter if you spend with him. He's still getting a piece of everything that you're doing, right? So again, understand, define, what is pride? Where does it come from? How do we get it? What is manhood? Where does it come from? How do we get it? And when we begin to define these things on a very primal basis, again, the steps to conclusion are highlighted. It tells us exactly what we need to do. I've been speaking. I need some water. And I'm not going to go too much longer. Again, I'll summarize. Kevin Samuels is an enemy to us. What he has been telling you, my brothers, is a poison to your mind. Don't you ever fix your lips to ask that woman what she brings to the table unless you done actually built your table, got your castle, have absolutely everything, and now you're ready to turn to our women and say, I am ready to entertain each of you. And then you can choose the prettiest star in the sky. But that's because you are not inviting her to struggle. You are not counting on her to augment you in order for you to be a man. That's not where your manhood lives. That's not how it works, right? So we need to reorient ourselves. And again, my conversations, everything I post, generally speaking, goes directly to the men. I'm not speaking to the women. I'm not speaking to the women. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I don't know how to be a woman, never have been. I don't have suggestions on how to be the best woman. I've never been one. I don't know how a woman's supposed to walk or dress or what she should do. I don't have any advice for women. I have admiration and love for them. I've always been a man. So my words are straight to you, man. My words are straight to you. And I'm telling you, the poison that this little swashbuckler has been spreading among you is absolutely abhorrent. It's the weakest conversation that could ever come from your mouth. I built my table. I built my castle. I am straight for the next 1,000,000 years by myself, right? It is at that point. It is at that point that I don't turn and ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? That's not what I ask. Better to say, here is what I would like, right? Here is what I would like. Can you do that? Much better conversation. But before you step to that place, find true manhood. Find and snatch with everything in you, true manhood. Find, define, and snatch true pride with everything in you, because everything that is false has a dangerous application. False pride leads to ego. Ego leads to the destruction of whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you have to find the truth in these words and not accept what's been imposed upon you and build on that. All right? I spent more time at the fair than I intended to. My major points Kevin Samuels, I see you rocking your chiclets, baby. Watch for it. Watch for me, homie. See my face? Watch for me, homie. Right? My brothers, ignore these clowns. They're driving you in the wrong way. They're making you look weak. They're making you look weak all over the planet. There's not a single man on this planet that's standing around talking about, I can't be a man because of my woman. Not one. Not one. Not one. Putin don't act like that. Putin don't say, I can't be a man because of my woman. There's no other people on the planet Earth that take that position. Stop being so fucking weak and following behind these weak ass men. It's time to redefine men. They do not exist on the same scale as we do, and yet we are performing as if we were below them. I'm telling you, the only way, the way that everything changes is when you produce borders around you, when you produce parameters, when you give the world parameters, then it changes. Then it changes. All right? Again, peace. Everything that I said, if I'm wrong, say it. You see the video. If I'm wrong, say it. And if you're right and I am wrong, I will say that. I have no problem. I don't suffer from false pride. I don't suffer from ego. None of those things affect me, man. So if I'm wrong, I will be wrong, and I will learn, and I will humbly do so and appreciate the lesson. That is how it's supposed to work. I will appreciate the lesson. So if I'm wrong, pull me up. Tell me where I can go buy a bag of manhood. All right. Again, my pleasure. Y'all keep it easy.